Good morning. Today we are going to do the Pleasantly Plaid bag, and we are going to do it with the number 3 zipper. That's just your standard zipper that you buy at like Joann's, Walmart, or Hobby Lobby, wherever you shop for your zippers, okay? So I have my no-show poly mesh hooped, and let's do a placement stitch. Okay, stitch the placement stitch. Now we're going to take our zipper face up and center it between or over the 2 top lines and tape it in place, okay? Make sure you tape it good so it doesn't move like my camera is. Okay. And depending on your zipper, make sure your pull tab, this is out of the way, okay? I got that taped. Now I will stitch it down. Now let me add, depending on your machine, you may want to rotate the design so the zipper is down at the bottom of more accessible. So when you do the lining, it doesn't get caught up in the arm or the back of your machine. Okay, once the zipper's tacked down, it will do a placement and a tack down for batting. I'm using a thicker vinyl today, so I'm not going to use batting, but I will do the placement stitches so you can see. Okay, see how it did a placement stitch for the batting? So you would just cover it with your batting, tack it down, then trim it close to the edges, okay? But as I said, I'm not doing that today, so what we will do now is turn our hoop over, take our lining, place it face down, lining the edge up with the bottom of the zipper edge right there, and tape it in place. Let's tape it a little better because this fabric has little holes right there from the manufacturer. This tape, once you get it taped, doesn't want to come back up. Okay, now I turn my hoop over. And I like to roll my lining up so it doesn't flop down or get caught in the machine anywhere. This is where I was talking about you might want to rotate your design so the arm isn't there. Now you will take your fabric or vinyl for the top applique piece right here, and you will put it face down, lining it up with the zipper the same again as the lining you did. I tape mine in place so I know it stays where it's supposed to be. Okay, now send it to the machine for the tack down. Okay, once it's tacked that down, you're going to pull down the front fabric here, or vinyl, and you're going to, this is where you can make sure your zipper's straight. And I tape the edges because it's vinyl and it likes to poof back up, and I don't like it to poof back up. And I'm also going to tape right there. Okay, now I'm going to send it back and let it do the tack down. Okay. Okay, it's tacked it down. Now it's going to do a placement stitch for your bottom fabric, okay? Okay, depending on how much fabric, you may want to trim that. You know, I don't want an inch there, maybe a ½ inch, but I don't want an inch. So I'm going to cut my fabric there, or my vinyl, whatever. Okay, and then I'm going to take my bottom piece and I'm going to put it 1/4 of an inch below, at least 1/4 of an inch below your stitch line, your placement line. Okay, so I'm going to just tape it there. Once again, so it doesn't move. And because I have stock in tape, haha. Okay, so tape it down, send it, and let it tack it down, okay? Okay, it's tacked it down. Now I'm going to remove my tape, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to fold it down. Make sure it's nice and straight. there, and I'm going to tape it there. And once again, I'm going to tape it back at the bottom so the middle is where I want it as well. And send it back over the machine, tack it down. Okay, it's tacked it down. Now I'm going to turn my hoop over. So I'm going to remove my tape on the front of my lining. Turn my hoop over and pull my lining down. If you were going to add a design, you would add your design to the front before you pull your lining down. But I'm not, because I have plaid fabric. So I got my lining all pulled down nice and taut. Tape it in place. And now I'll return it to the machine and tack the lining down. Okay. Okay, it's tacked it all down. Now it's going to do a placement stitch for my side tab, and depending on the bag, it may have a side tab placement and top. I'm going to open my zipper now, though. Open my zipper, tape my tab out of the way, and then let it do the placement for my side tab. Okay, it stitched my placement there, so I'm going to take my little tab and I'm going to put it with the raw edges out, and I'm going to tape it in place right there. I'm going to tape the back as well so it doesn't pop open, and I'm going to tack it down. Okay, so last chance to make sure your zipper's open. Make sure it's open. If you want a pocket, now you would put your pocket on. It needs to be below the zipper, okay? And it needs to be overhang a 1/2 inch on the sides and the bottom and this side, but it has to be below the zipper. It's important that you measure properly. So anyway, okay, I want my pocket to be, I'm going to say about there. Okay, and I always tape my pocket in place because it matters if it's crooked on the back. Okay, so I have my pocket. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of tape right there too. Okay, there's my pocket. Now cover the whole design with your fabric, okay? And as you can see, I'll show you under here, my stitch line's way up there. So I'm going to cover the whole thing just at the top of my zipper and down, and now I'll just tack it all down. One more thing, if you're using fabric and you do batting, you would add the batting on top of this. The batting would go here, and then you would sandwich it all together, stitch it, then trim the batting before you add the lining. Okay, it's tacked it all down. As I said, if you used batting, you would trim your batting right now. Not your vinyl or fabric, just the batting. Now you're going to turn your hoop over. And this is when I trim my zipper area. Okay, I just go in there and snip my stabilizer. Of course, you can do it when you want. I just happen to like to do it now. Just make sure you don't cut your lining fabric. Okay, all trimmed. Once it's all trimmed, take your other piece of lining, place it face down over the entire bag, making sure you're over all of it. Okay, let me go make sure my little holes are there, and tape it in place. Okay, I'll tape it in place. There we go. We'll send it to the machine to do the last and final stitch. Okay. So we'll tack that down and go from there. Okay, it's all finished. Now I go around and I remove all my tape. I do that before I take it out of the hoop because it's a lot easier to see and find. And I do have tape everywhere. Goodness, I do. All right, I'll turn it over, take my tape off the back, the same. Try to get off my fingers. Take it out of my hoop. Okay, there we go. I like to get the excess batting out of, or stabilizer out of the way, just so you can kind of see what you're cutting. Just makes it a little easier. Okay, now I turn mine over and I take my lining, just my lining, and I fold it back, and then I cut the rest of it about 3/8 of an inch or so. I found if you leave a little more than the sides and that, it tucks inside the bag easier. Okay, so I cut that. And then I fold my lining back down. I'm gonna trim these so they're both even, because they never are. Okay. Then I like to angle in my cuts into the, not just to the outside of the opening. See, like that. And like that. Then I go around and I cut the rest of it, just a little over 1/4 of an inch or so. Like that. I like to cut off my corner. Okay, there we go. It's done. Cut this, angle this corner over. Take this, throw it in my garbage can. All right, now between the two linings, carefully, right there, you're going to turn your bag right side out, okay? Depending on your vinyl, it may be easy and it may not be so easy. Some of the vinyls are pretty stiff. This one's, it's pretty flexible. Stiffer than promo, but not as stiff as glitter. Okay, so once you get it turned right side out, be careful not to tear your corner, your lining. Push your corners out. Okay, be right back. Let me get my paintbrush. Okay, I use a paintbrush to go up and push my corners out. It's a rounded paintbrush. Whoops, not a pointy one. So, just so they're nice and pushed out where they're supposed to be. Okay, and then you need to tuck your bottom in and inside itself like this. And then you can stitch it, tape it, or glue it. I'm going to glue it. Okay, I'm going to glue it and use my Wonder Clips. Today's choice is Fabric Fuse. Okay, so I just go back under here. Say it. And I'm going to, Brenda, that was for you. There we go. Use a little bit of glue there. Clip it. Use a little more glue there. Tuck and clip, tuck and clip. Oh, and down. Okay, so while this dries, I'll be right back. Okay, should be dry enough. Now you're going to take, if you used a pocket, make sure you're in between the front of the bag and the pocket. And turn it right side out. You may have to open your zipper the rest of the way if you didn't. Or if it isn't, I should say. Okay. We're gonna this out. And just so you know, the number 5 zipper bag is done the exact same way. So now we push our corners out, so it's down the sides. And take my tab here. Add some hardware on it to it, and there you go. There you go. There's a pocket. Totally lined. And this vinyl right here, this is promo from my punk embroidery. And the red is one of their new lines. It's called Red, Black, White, Larger Plaid. Okay, there you go. Thank you.